great night of boxing so far. You've seen a brilliant fight, a battle of wills in the lightweight division. You've seen a terrific battle of skill in the featherweight division. And now we get ready for two of the most skilled fighters to have operated in the ring in the last 20 years. How much really does either man have to lose? Would anybody criticize Bernard Hopkins for losing a fight like this to a stylist like Winky Wright at age 42? And how could Wright be criticized going up and fighting a man who's significantly larger than himself and who has one of the greatest records in the modern history of the sport? It's a win-win all the way around for Hopkins, for Wright, and for us.
Great fighters never shy away from a challenge. They seek one another out, hoping to rise to the occasion and prove they are the best. After 10 dominant years as middleweight champion, the greatness of Bernard Hopkins was not in doubt. It's a legacy highlighted by knockout victories over superstars Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya, and boldly elevated when Hopkins vanquished light heavyweight king Antonio Tarver 13 months ago.
What a performance by Hopkins.
Now at 42 years old, Hopkins fights on. His mind still willing, and his body still able to take on opponents who will further enhance his legend. Opponents like Winky Wright. For Wright, the hard road to respect took more than a decade to navigate. But after a pair of wins over Shane Mosley and his own masterpiece against Trinidad, the 35-year-old Wright is now recognized as one of the best of his generation.
Now Winky Wright makes his statement. Who's next?
Last June, Wright fought to a disputed draw with Jermaine Taylor, the same man who had twice defeated Hopkins to take his middleweight crown. Both Wright and Hopkins felt they deserved victory against Taylor. Now this boxing triangle becomes complete.
History will be rewritten. Winky Wright for the first time get knocked out by the executioner.
You gonna knock me out? You gonna have to bring the fight to me. Let's do it.
Tonight in Las Vegas, two elite fighters come face to face, ready for the challenge, living for the moment to again show their greatness. Bernard Hopkins versus Winky Wright, next.
It's time for our main event. Former middleweight champion Bernard Hopkins against former 154-pound champ Winky Wright. They're calling it a light heavyweight fight, but they're at an agreed-upon 170 pounds, and it's scheduled for a near-certain 12 rounds. Hopkins versus Wright is being brought to you by Mandalay Bay, boxing at its best. Rockstar energy drink, party like a rock star. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. Bernard Hopkins moved up to light heavyweight with the help of fitness guru Mackie Shilstone. He's come down now 5 pounds without him. Will that matter? Will Father Time matter? In the past, Hopkins has been impervious to the perils which face so many other fighters. Can he do it again tonight? Ronald Winky Wright has also taken the road less traveled. He thought he had his breakthrough in 1999, but lost a disputed decision to Fernando Vargas. It wasn't until 2004 and 2005, with his wins against Mosley and Trinidad, that Wright was finally seen as an upper echelon fighter. Will he add to that legacy tonight? Wright must defeat the 42-year-old Hopkins to maintain his elite status in the sport. All right, we're ready now for the two proven great fighters to come into the ring. Let's turn to HBO boxing analyst Max Kellerman. And Max, anytime two fighters of this quality get together, it's got to be seen as a good thing. But the skeptic could say, what really is at stake between a guy who retired from the sport a year ago, his legacy seemingly as secure as it could possibly be, that's Hopkins, And another guy who at this moment attaches to no particular weight class, no particular status island in the sport other than his very high pound-for-pound ranking. What do they prove?
Well, according to the over 100 years of boxing tradition and the immutable laws of logic, this fight is for the light heavyweight championship of the world. You know, Hopkins beat Antonio Tarver for the lineal light heavyweight championship, hasn't lost since then, hasn't fought since then, about a year ago. If that's not enough, the light heavyweight championship, how about this? The winner of this fight, not by box office appeal, but by actual athletic accomplishment, has a very good argument that they're the best fighter of this era in or around their weight neighborhood. That's right. You may have been living through the Winky Wright era this whole time and never have known it.
Indeed. I mean, it's amazing that these guys at this moment can make a statement that maybe they meant more competitively over the past 10, 15 years than even Roy Jones and Oscar De La Hoya, who've gotten so much more publicity and so much more adulation during that period of time. But maybe that happens because they're both great stylists, and because, Emmanuel, as we've said over the years in all sports, defense ultimately wins championships. They're both great defenders. So if they're both great defenders, but one of them is a guy who throws a sparing, limited number of punches, Hopkins, and the other guy in most recent fights has been throwing 60, 70, 80 punches per round, isn't there an enormous advantage for Winky Wright because he lets his hands go?
It's interesting, Jim. 5 years ago, the roles would have been reversed. You would have been asking me to just opposite, because at that stage, Winky Wright was a tight defensive fighter, very economical with his punches. Even when he fought Trinidad, wouldn't throw too many punches. Bernard was the executioner then, a very rough, tough, aggressive guy. The roles are reversed. Winky Wright now is the guy that comes out and just throws punches, trying to get points to the bank. So starting with the Jermaine Taylor fight. And Bernard is economically now trying to be more of a counterpuncher and pinpoints his punches. I think the real key to this fight is going to be Bernard Hopkins' legs. I think that even though on record he's the older fighter, I still think he's a younger fighter in terms of the way his body is and the way that his legs is. If he can move around and punch and get in and out, he has a good chance of winning. But also that would determine whether the fight's going to be exciting or not. It's the way with his legs. If his legs doesn't move too good, it's going to be an exciting fight.
Well, what an amazing statement. I won't argue with it. And only in the world of Bernard Hopkins could this happen. A 42-year-old fighter is going to try to win the fight with his legs. Rules, excuse me. Tail of the tape for Bernard Hopkins and Winky Wright. You see the 7-year age advantage for Wright. 2.5-inch height advantage for Hopkins. Arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, the same for both fighters, and they both weighed in at the agreed upon weight limit of 170 pounds, 5 pounds below the light heavyweight limit. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Bernard Hopkins-Winky Wright fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Winky Wright will be walking first. He has been trained throughout his entire professional career by Dan Birmingham of St. Petersburg, Florida. He fights in a style which is entirely and completely his own. 12 wins in his last 13 fights, only 1 knockout. If ever there has been a terrific fighter more dependent on the judges to carry him through his career, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, and the transformation has been very interesting from a slick boxing southpaw to a guy over his last, I don't know, dozen fights who essentially stands in front of his opponent without a lot of power, with his hands up in that turtle kind of defense like Livingston Bramble used to have, and uses that right jab and a volume of punches to outwork his opponent. The word around boxing, the murmurs around boxing are that he fights in this way because his legs aren't what they used to be.
One of your fighters, Emmanuel Stewart, Jermaine Taylor, was quoted by ESPN.com's Danny Raphael as saying that if Winky Wright comes out and lets his hands go in the first few rounds the way he did against Tim Taylor, he'll beat Bernard Hopkins.
Well, the difference is this year, Jermaine would go back to the rope. As long as you were stationary Winky was very effective. When Jermaine got to the center of the ring, that's when Jermaine was effective. And I think that Bernard may not go to the ropes. If Bernard moves around the ring and makes Winky have to use his legs, it's going to be very difficult for Winky to be anywhere effective as he was when Jermaine would go to the ropes.
So Wright now comfortably in the ring. And you see there some significant results from his career. To listen to Winky Wright talk, you would think that he's never lost a fight. Indeed, maybe he's never lost a round. And the person with whom he shares most in common, given that mental framework, is, of course, the guy who's about to come out of the dressing room to face him, Bernard Hopkins. Unlike Wright, Hopkins has had a succession of trainers. He went through most of his career with the well-known Bowie Fischer, then switched to Fischer's longtime assistant, Nassim Richardson. Within the past several months, Richardson, whom you see on camera left there, near Hopkins' right shoulder, suffered a stroke and was unable to handle most of the training duties for this fight. So then entered the ubiquitous Freddie Roach, hired gun trainer for Oscar De La Hoya against Floyd Mayweather, hired gun trainer for Bernard Hopkins here. What does Roach mean in this fight?
Well, Bernard, regardless of who is training, is going to be Bernard. Bernard is the type of guy that pretty much runs his own show. And Freddie works very good because he doesn't try to change guys too much. So he can work with guys like Bernard or with a James Toney because he just works along with them, what they're doing. But I think the experience that Freddie has had in fights and being so active will help him if he gets in a tough situation. But for the most part, Bernard is his own man.
Incidentally, in case you're wondering why Hopkins is not yet walking to the ring, it's because a video with highlights from various of Bernard's ring appearances is playing in the arena, and right now the crowd is being given a chance to watch the video, and Hopkins will wait until the video is completed before he walks in. And because both fighters generally do depend on the judges, Max, and neither has been a knockout puncher in the past several years, most anticipate that this fight goes to a decision. And part of what's happening here is because Hopkins is the home court fighter fighting for the promoter Golden Boy in a town that can be called a Golden Boy town, not necessarily the Golden Boy town. And some wonder if Hopkins' status in that regard may ultimately figure into a close decision.
Yeah, I wonder, given, as you said, their skill level and their penchant for going the distance in recent years in hotly contested contests, can either one of these guys win decisively enough where the majority of observers say, yeah, that guy really won the fight? That's the question.
Most particularly because Hopkins, in my view, Emmanuel, is by nature so cautious, he's not even trying to win rounds by wide margins. I think he lost the 2 fights against Taylor largely because he wouldn't extend himself to try to put a definitive imprint on any of those 24 rounds.
Yeah, so you know what you said earlier when you described the fight, you said it's going to be a close fight, and the winner's going to complain that he was robbed with his other one. That was the 2 guaranteed things you said. It's going to be a very interesting. The whether it's going to be exciting is going to depend on the legs of Bernard. If he can't move too much, the fight's going to be exciting because Winky's going to come out and start punching like a machine right away as soon as the bell rings.
Incidentally, Bernard Hopkins no longer, as you see, wears the executioner's mask, though he still identifies himself on the back of the robe as the executioner. And while some may expect that this is a one-off for a 42-year-old fighter, a niche fight designed to add one more big credential to his career, Hopkins says, oh no, I'm going to continue fighting. This is what I do, and I'm comfortable doing it. There's no reason to stop.
Well, you know, he only quit because he made the promise to his mother. And if his mother hadn't passed, I'm quite sure he would have convinced his mother that he should still fight because he's a very convincing speaker.
And you saw there in the list of fights for Hopkins his win over Tarver last year, just to emphasize the point that Max Kellerman made a little bit earlier. Hopkins beat the preeminent light heavyweight in the world when he beat Tarver. Therefore, you can see the light heavyweight championship of the world as one of the stakes in this fight. They're both in the ring. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, in association with Winky Promotions, are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing recognized by the Bible of Boxing, Ring Magazine, for the light heavyweight championship of the world. Sponsored by Rockstar, party like a rock star. Cerveza Tecate, a beer with an attitude. And Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Tony Alamo, Executive Director Keith Kaiser. At ringside, the 3 judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system: Glenn Hamada, Dave Moretti, and Glenn Trowbridge. And inside the ring, when the bell rings, your referee in charge, Robert Byrd. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing gray with blue, official weight 170 pounds. His professional record, 51 victories, including 25 knockouts, with only 3 defeats and 1 draw. From St. Petersburg, Florida, the former undisputed light middleweight champion of the world, the challenger, Ronald Winky Wright. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue, official weight 170 pounds. His professional record, 47 victories with 32 knockouts, 4 defeats, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the former undisputed middleweight champion of the world, the reigning and defending light heavyweight champion of the world, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Back up. Okay, Bernard, Winky, I gave you your instructions in the dressing room. The only thing I'm going to say now is when I tell you to stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing and give me a clean break. Protect yourselves at all times, obey my commands at all times. Mr. Hopkins, Mr. Wright, both of you are world champion caliber professional athletes. I expect you to conduct yourselves that way in this ring and in this fight. Let's do it.
A lot of people are not expecting a very exciting or dramatic fight here. Come on, guys, surprise us.
Both fighters contend that they will surprise the audience with an active, energetic, and exciting fight. But of course, both fighters were trying to sell tickets and pay-per-view subscriptions prior to the fight, so you would expect them to say that. What fans who suspect the worst are looking for is 2 defensive fighters polishing their defensive styles against each other. And now here's Hopkins going to the body inside as Wright clinches Hopkins' left glove on the side away from the referee Byrd. What, Emmanuel, will Hopkins do to nullify Winky Wright's rat-a-tat right jab, which so bedeviled Trinidad and Jermaine Taylor?
Both guys are fighting a little bit different than I normally, because normally Winky doesn't be bending over that much himself, and Bernard is, I'm trying to get the feel of the styles. It's very difficult right now. But I think that Bernard is really trying to throw a punch, run in his mother like he usually does, but he seems to be a little bit slower. I see a big reduction in Bernard's speed. With both of them. In fact, both of them.
And Bernard's a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And more settled on his feet.
And the age factor, I think, for both of them.
When Winky Wright has been boring or less than dramatic in recent years, it's been because he's been too dominant. The fight's too one-sided, as he was against Trinidad. But when the fighter is of equal skill to Winky or equal effectiveness like Jermaine Taylor, the fights have been kind of exciting, actually. He's been much more offensively prolific. He moves his hands much more nowadays than he used to, Winky Wright.
At least as exciting as fights can be without the prospect of a knockout. That's what would really surprise the crowd here, is if one of these guys happened to go down and Bernard Hopkins just landed a sharp right hand over the top.
Yeah, Bernard is fighting this. He's moving away, moving around, and then he throws a punch and runs in and smothers you and ties you up right at the same time. And Winky can't get his rhythm going now.
Yeah, Hopkins making clear that his feet and his legs are the key to his defensive attitude against Wright.
Right, he's not going straight back to the ropes because Winky doesn't fight that good at a distance. His legs have been showing a lot of wear and tear recently, and Bernard is taking advantage of that.
Hopkins throws one right hand and then grabs Wright and pulls him to his chest.
When Hopkins has been boring in recent years, it's because he's been more concerned with nullifying the opponent's offense than creating offense of his own. And so far, I think that's what we're seeing here.
But Winky Wright hasn't been able to get that repeating jab going here in round number one. And therefore, the scuffle looks so far more like a Bernard Hopkins kind of a fight than a Winky Wright kind of a fight. An uneven, rhythmless, difficult affair. The kind of fight of which Hopkins has been the master.
Put the left hand behind the jab. More 1-2s all day. He's open for it.
Take that hand.
Relax, Wink. Relax. Relax.
Everything's good.
Reads it. Yeah. On his eye. Be first, Winky. Don't let him. He's too sneaky. Be first whenever possible. And more left hands. More left hands. Rip inside.
First punch.
Turn him into the hook after the right hand, okay? Not single punches, combinations, okay?
Nice and relax. Keep those things. Go to the box. I know. Nice and relax. You're doing good.
Here you see Winky Wright just trying to find some way to get a sustained attack coming in and get caught with a right hand from Bernard, which was probably the best and maybe the only clean punch of the entire round, which meant that Bernard probably won that round off of that one punch.
CompuBox numbers in round one. Hopkins 10 of 41, Wright 10 out of 44. I totally agree with you, Emmanuel. That right hand was eye-catching enough that it probably brought the round into Hopkins' corner. And listening to Dan Birmingham talking to Winky Wright between rounds, I get the impression that Birmingham understands they're not going to be able to dominate this fight with their jab. He needs Winky Wright to throw and land left hands.
Yep, because all that Bernard's going to do is move away and throw a right hand and run in and do just what he's doing now and smother him with his left shoulder.
Bernard, stop. Stop. Bernard, you're holding him. Stop it. Let's go.
Chopping little right hand inside by Winky Wright. Good left inside by Wright. Hopkins once again gets himself wrapped around Wright somehow. Robert Byrd has already warned Hopkins for holding. Wright getting his right glove up and blocking Bernard Hopkins' left hook.
Well, I give Winky a good credit. He's putting a lot of pressure on Bernard. If Bernard is going to try to use his legs to step away, step left to right, he's going to have to do it because Winky is walking him down.
Straight right hand for Hopkins, a grinning Wright,
Free up your hands.
starting to move more toward the kind of rhythm he wants to establish.
You got to give Winky Wright a lot of credit. A guy who spent most of his career at junior middleweight, not a big puncher, a guy who's been criticized as having having his legs really not being what they once were, is walking down and forcing the fight against a bigger, more natural light heavyweight.
There was a sharp right hand in there by Winky Wright.
Let's go.
Well, Winky right now is really pushing the fight. If he doesn't get caught with some of those sneaky right hand leads that Bernard is trying to do, he'll do very well. Because Bernard finishes up almost every right hand with the left shoulder.
Wright doing everything possible to try to keep his hands moving, let them go, pumping to the body when he gets inside. Another good quick right hand there by Winky Wright. Hopkins has landed some rights and lefts in return this round, but nothing particularly eye-catching. There's a lot of grabbing and walking and holding and pushing.
Like old fighters do.
As we expected would be the case.
I got you. Stop. Let him up, let him out, let him up, let him out. Step out. All right.
Hopkins, who averaged only 19 punches thrown per round in the first half of his first fight with Jermaine Taylor, and generally has averaged about 35 punches per round in recent years. Got off 44 in the first round, has thrown more than 40 in this round. So Wright has succeeded in stepping Hopkins' work rate up just a little bit. Will that create some opportunities for him? Kind of remains to be seen. The second round seems to have been a little bit more what Winky Wright and Dan Birmingham might have had in mind.
Yeah, I think I would give that round to Winky.
He's trying to run numbers on you. He's trying to run numbers. You get landing a cleaner shot, but he's running numbers on you. Run them numbers back on the inside. Don't have to load up. Nice work. Nice work. Drop the left hand down a little bit. You're coming up too high. He's dropping. Every time you punch, he's dropping down. All right, drop it.
Get out to the side, okay? Remember, don't move straight back with this fella, okay? This man, okay? You move back in a straight line, you'll be on the end of a shot, okay? You move off an angle, okay? Just like we did in the gym, okay? Come on. You're smarter than this guy, okay? Keep turning them after your combinations. Beautiful, okay? Everything's working. The body shot, the jab put together.
Let him rush.
Good job.
At your own pace. Trying to rush. Set us out, mouthpiece.
Jabs through the second round. Hopkins 1 out of 15, and you heard Freddie Roach say the jab is working. He's landed 1 out of 15 by CompuBox count. Winky Wright 12 out of 44. Hopkins with an advantage in power connects. 7 rounds left.
Bad cut, but bad.
And that's what happens sometimes between a southpaw and a conventional fighter.
Well, the thing is, Bernard has a history of headbutts in fights, and that's what even Jamal fighters, and that's the main concern that Winky's had going into this fight, that he's complained about continually about Bernard's head.
Wright has very prominent eyebrows, and he said to us yesterday in the fighter meeting, I'm as concerned about his head as about anything else.
Bernard was grinning when he walked away. He was grinning.
Let's go.
So now with blood coming from above the left eye of Winky Wright, they go back to fighting in round number 3. Straight right hand by Hopkins. And almost came together again. Get the impression Robert Byrd is going to have a lot of work to do in this fight tonight.
Yeah, this is a very tough fight. So I knew it going for a referee, because Bernard runs in with his head down all the time. That's actually a big part of his attack.
You know, there is a way where you can get away with it, and Bernard does it. Hey, my head is coming in with my hands. If your face happens to be there, that's not my fault.
Common complaint of heavyweight opponents against Evander Holyfield for years and years. First I get the left hook, then I get his head. With Hopkins, it's usually the right, followed by the head.
All right, stop. Step out. Step out.
It's been an ugly scratch and sniff round number 3.
But, you know, it's interesting. Even when they throw their punches, they're more like throwing punches trying to get points. Not punching with the authority that the 2 previous fights where we had small guys was punching it.
Who won with some authority there? Bernard did.
Stop. Come on, guys.
Robert Byrd urging the 2 fighters, come on, guys, as if to say, let's have some clean punching here.
I got you.
Wright got in a right and a left hand before once again they came together. Hopkins missing with that short left hook.
Come on, guys.
Emmanuel, what do you think of Winky's legs so far? Bernard was alluding to Winky's legs when we were talking to him yesterday. How do Winky's legs look to you?
Well, they don't look good. That's when I was giving instructions when he fought Jermaine Taylor, where I kept telling Jermaine, keep him in the center of the ring, because Jermaine would beat him in the center because I knew he has bad legs. But when you're closer, he can get you in the ropes like that. Winky's very effective, but he doesn't have the legs that he used to have.
Bernard Hopkins scored with a straight right hand. Wright came back with a good flush straight left. Then they scuffled again in one of those exchanges where nothing clean seems to land. Wright turns to talk to Bird. Hopkins tries to jump him with a right hand. There's a lot of blood over the left eye of Winky Wright. Not a pretty picture.
Give me this.
Give me a look, Winky. You got, go ahead and work. You gonna work that? Go.
He's done. He's okay.
We fucked it, Rick. We got dirty shit. We got to get dog with him, Wink. We got to get dog.
He's telling him about the.
He don't do that shit.
Box him on the outside, Wink. Use your legs and box this guy on the outside. Box him on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Run away with this guy. Come on.
Here you see Winky come in, miss on the left, and here you see Bernard come right back, and there's when you saw the headbutt.
Hopkins, of course, would say, hey, all I did was turn my shoulder into him. He's the one who put his head on mine. And it's always an argument in a case like that. Punches in round 3. Hopkins 14 out of 45. Wright 12 out of 51. Hopkins with a 12-7 advantage in power connects according to CompuBox. Difficult round to score, as many of these rounds figure to be. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Look at you, 2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Ronald Winky Wright. Jim, I gotta tell you something. I think Bernard Hopkins is holding like man. He held in round 2, he held in round 3. He's going backwards, running away, and then he grabs Winky, and Robert Byrd hasn't said a word about it. I think he's getting away with murder as far as holding goes. Winky's doing the punching, and he's not grabbing. 2-1, Winky.
Let me correct one thing. Bird did warn Hopkins once for holding, so he has said something about it once. I'm sure, Harold, you would like to see him say something more often than once. But, of course, Bird has a lot to watch out for here, given the possibility of headbutts between the southpaw Wright and the conventional fighter Hopkins.
You know, for a halting, ugly, fouling kind of fight, it ain't half bad.
No, it's not. And Bernard's legs is not as fast as I thought, so that's why the fight is good. I think if he could move fast, it would be a boring fight. But right now, he cannot move too fast, and Wick is closing the gap. And now he's becoming more of a stationary target, which is what Winky fights his best at.
Yeah, it was interesting. One member of Winky Wright's corner was screaming at him because of the headbutt, saying, you got to jump him, you got to dog him, you got to show him he can't do that. But the cooler head was trainer Dan Birmingham, who said, box him from the outside. That's what you can do.
But Bernard is very dangerous still, because he backs back, and then he's catching. He's trying to catch. See that? Those are just like point-getting punches, not really power punches. But he throws a good little right uppercut that he's trying to catch Winky with.
Winky is blocking most of what Bernard throws, because Bernard is throwing from straight on and not developing the angles that he said he could create through the fight.
Well, I say this Winky is fighting, making him fight a much more stationary fight than Bernard intended.
We're watching 2 future Hall of Famers, 2 legitimately great fighters, and there's a lot of subtle skill going on, defensively and offensively, to compensate for their diminished speed and reflexes and athleticism.
Begins to emerge is exactly the one I envisioned. Hopkins doesn't land enough showy, eye-catching punches to be able to score evenly with Winky Wright. We mentioned Bernard Hopkins and his relationship with Nassim Richardson, who was his trainer against Jermaine Taylor and his trainer in the fight against Antonio Tarver last summer. Richardson had a stroke a few months ago, was not able to supervise Hopkins' training camp, as would normally have been the case. So he's in the corner, he's being paid for the fight, but the primary trainer tonight, on a one-time only basis, is Freddie Roach.
Yeah, it ain't gonna bleed no more. We hit it with a good shot, Wink, follow up.
Hit that body and be ready for that counter. Use your legs a little more, Wink. Use your legs. Relax. You got this.
CompuBox numbers in the 4th round. Hopkins 7 out of 44. Wright 15 out of 63. Wright 9 to 7 power connect advantage. And again, as I said at the end of the round, Hopkins doesn't land cleanly enough or showily enough most of the time to match what Wright is able to do in scoring. Winky Wright's not going to hurt anybody the way he punches, but he knows how to show the judges a clean landed punch.
Watch your heads, watch your heads.
I think he hurts people a little bit more than he's given credit for. And I also think, Jim, that he's actually winning these rounds. He's actually landing more punches. Winky Wright, that is.
I agree.
But Bernard might settle down and start trying to get some power punches, just like right there.
Good right hand by Bernard Hopkins inside.
I can see his steady his mind. I see he's trying to land punch.
Pick him up, Bernie. Pick him up. Pick him up.
Bernard, you got to watch his right hand, his left shoulder, and his head. Those are the 3 things you have to watch for all the time. And he's trying to land a good power punch, but most of his punches are just little tit-tat punches.
What do his shoulder, head, and right hand tell you?
Come out.
How can you tell when he's getting ready to measure Winky for the right hand?
He's trying to land a good power punch for the most part, but he's just trying to get points. And then all along the way, he's still trying to get in that little. He'll move from you and get you so carried away with trying to catch him, and then he'd run in and throw the right hand and duck his head at the same time, and he'll catch you.
Like that.
Yeah, and he'll catch you unexpectedly.
Good left hand by Wright. Hopkins with a chopping right over the top. Wright covering up and blocking Hopkins' assault there. Wright covering up and blocking again. Wright covering up and blocking again. The unique style of Winky Wright, who puts up a medieval guard with his right hand in front of his entire upper body and comes forward in a defensive pose. Sometimes, just to make sure the judges understand, Wright will shake his head following the opponent's flurry to make clear nothing landed.
But Bernard is fighting the smart rounders. He's moving a lot with his legs, moving, throwing his little point, getting punches real quick, tying him up.
Let him go, Bernard. Let him go.
Probably winning this round.
Stop, I got you.
Blood beginning to trickle again from the cut above Winky Wright's left eye. Once again, that came from a headbutt in the 2nd round.
Don't lean on, duck, stop. Stop. I got you. That's all, guys. That's all.
Scratch, Wink. That cut ain't shit. Well, we got it. Ain't even bleeding. That ain't shit. We done been scratched. We done been cut worse than that in a kiddie fight. That ain't nothing. Keep fighting, champ. You're doing good.
Bend your knees. Don't follow that jab. Start snapping that jab in that left hand. More one. You got more 1-2s. Otherwise, he's gonna counter you with that right hand. If you land a left hand on him, you'll be safe.
Okay. It's easier, right? Yep. Use your feints and your head movement, son. Okay, and the shoulder movement. Okay. Don't be a still target in front of him. Feint, head movement. Open him up with them. All right? He'll reach for everything, I promise you. Okay? All right? He's going to reach for your jab, and the hook's going to be right there.
I got you, coach.
All right?
CompuBox numbers showed Winky Wright doubling Bernard Hopkins' number of connects in the last round. Now, you heard Emmanuel Stewart praising Hopkins for fighting a smart round and suggesting maybe he won it. But I think that Wright lands more and cleaner punches.
But I think Bernard is moving around. He's got Winky turning and pivoting a lot. And, you know, I just talked to last year. I thought that Bernard may have got the round because of this little point getting punches he throws, even though they're not that hard.
Bernard said before the fight that he was going to use Winky Wright's best weapons against him. Winky Wright's best weapons being his turtle defense with the arms up and the elbows tucked and the steady right jab. Bernard thought he would use them against Winky by moving around him, using his legs, giving him angles, countering off the jab. It hasn't worked out that way so far for Bernard.
because Wright isn't using the jab that freely and is fighting more with a straight left hand and inside punches.
Watch your head. Let's go.
Giving Hopkins different looks.
And maybe Bernard's legs aren't quite the advantage he thought they would be compared to Winky's legs.
Round 6 of the scheduled 12. Amazing that we're almost halfway through already.
All right, you hook. I got you. Step out. Step back.
And as long as that's what's going on, nothing's going on.
Stop. 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 When I say stop, stop. Box.
Winky Wright perfectly happy to go inside with Bernard Hopkins and trade inside game with the most knowledgeable inside fighter in the sport.
Get off his head.
The last round, Bernard moved a lot more. This round, he's fighting more stationary. Winky's having a much better round.
Come on, guys. Free up your hand. Stop, 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 stop.
Maybe at this age, your legs should only let you move for one round, and you have to rest it another round.
Good combination from Bernard.
A lot of it blocked by Wright, though.
Yeah,
he's always got those gloves up.
I thought I saw some sweat flying off of Winky's head.
You know, listening to the three of us, we find it hard to agree on what we're seeing. You can only imagine how difficult it is for 3 judges sitting on 3 separate sides of the ring.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Stop.
In terms of the way this is playing out, the fear that neither guy would be able to impose himself, and whoever gets the decision, the other will complain, seems to be realized so far.
I got you.
And the harder the rounds are to score,
listen for the bell.
In my experience, the more often there are at least hints of political implications in the scoring. Because judges have to hang their hats on something.
This is a rough fight to score. To me, I'd say it's going to be very difficult. You know, Bernard is moving around, throwing them little flurry, little punches with no power, just try to steal the right. And Winky can't get his rhythm to going.
When Emmanuel Stewart says off the top he can't understand quite the rhythm of the fight yet, that means no one can understand it. Can't be understood.
On my head. Keep it on my head.
Little angles in front of him, you hear me? All right? Start turning him into his body shot.
And he hitting it home. We cool, though. Let's go. Come on, baby boy. All right. Okay.
Watch him, bro. Don't let it get wet.
Let's fight, Wink. Down the
Come on,
Wink.
champ.
Make it a dog fight, Wink. Let's go.
Halfway through to the 12-round limit between Winky Wright and Bernard Hopkins. In the 6th round, CompuBox found Hopkins 15 out of 16 and Wright 16 out of 57. Harold Letterman, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, 4 rounds to 2. 58.
No.
56.
I got you.
Ronald Winky Wright. Jim, I still think Bernard Hopkins is getting a lot of credit, and he's doing a lot of holding.
Let him go.
And the truth of the matter is, Winky's landing the cleaner shots. I wish the devil Robert Byrd would tell Bernard Hopkins to stop holding so much. Interestingly enough, in round 6, Bernard Hopkins started to breathe through his mouth. His mouth is wide open. I got a funny feeling he's not in great shape. I mean, he never fought like that with his mouth open, but he is. 4-2, Winky Wright.
Well, that was a good exchange for Hopkins, and he landed a chopping right hand. And there's another clean right hand on the jaw of Winky Wright inside. Now Wright lands a solid left hand, and Hopkins takes a look at Byrd as if to say, wait a minute, how about him butting me?
So far, Hopkins' best weapon other than his head has been that counter right hand that he lands cleanly occasionally and hard.
And sometimes he shoots it hard with power. Sometimes he shoots it for point combinations, but he does change up on it.
And incidentally, the crowd may be most instrumental in getting Hopkins not to hold, as Byrd once again warns Hopkins there has been no point deduction so far. Wright gets in a solid right. Hopkins gets in a quick right hand. Wright nods at Hopkins as if to say, okay, you landed one right-hand shot. I'm coming right back at you.
But Bernard is moving enough where Winky can't really get him in the corner and get a good flurry off.
Stop.
Looked to me as though Bernard landed several good shots in that exchange.
Let's go.
That's all he wants. He's getting his points up. Very, very good point getters.
Winky having to literally chase Bernard across the ring to try to get in a body shot. Hopkins walks away again. Now counter right hand to the body by Hopkins as he suddenly plants and turns on Winky. That's really the Hopkins plan. Use his feet to make Wright anxious and take advantage of the anxiety. This has been an intelligent round for Hopkins, but he eats a left hand there.
Oh, stop. Step out. All right.
I'm not sure if Winky Wright actually just winked at Harold Letterman. I think he did.
Winky seems to be having lots of problems now. The movement of Bernard and twisting and turning and angles is beginning to bother him.
Round for you, Wink. Another good round. Just keep them hands running inside. Keep them numbers running inside like he's doing. He's not hitting with anything good or all bullshit, but you got to run the numbers back.
First round, when he intentionally head, brother. Let him keep calling. Keep being stuck in the line. Go to the fight a little bit more. All right, steady got you. Yeah, we worked the first time.
Okay, nice angles, good combinations, okay? Very good. Stay off the ropes. All right, beautiful, but stay off the ropes. You don't need to be there. You feel the ropes coming up, you know to get off them, okay? Keep this in the middle of the ring, you're all boxing easy. Hand speed is too much. Very good.
All steps, baby. Just like you do. Just like you do.
Nice deep breath.
Keep those things going. He's falling everywhere he's going. Take him to school.
CompuBox numbers through round 7. Bernard Hopkins, 80 out of 347. Less than 25%. Winky Wright, 99 out of 384. About 26 or 27%.
You're all right.
Wright looking at his right eyebrow now to see if that had opened up, as the left eyebrow has been open for several rounds with occasional blood dripping on Winky Wright.
Stop. Let out.
Two of the most willing talkers in the sport. You spend time chatting with them the day before the fight. It's important to keep in mind that neither man has ever lost a round, much less a fight. And neither is going to think that he lost many rounds here.
You know, and I can understand that, having watching both of these guys most of their careers, Winky since he was 17 even, I've never saw anybody really dominate either one of them.
All right, stop. You're holding him.
Hopkins arguing with Bird about who is holding whom. It's clear that Bird's view to this point is that Hopkins is the primary offender in the holding department.
I got you.
Now Hopkins holds his left arm up as if to say, look at me.
They both fall into a clinch and then open their hands while they still clinch with their arms to show, no, I'm not clinching.
Both are two great fighters, both are my friends, but I see age from both of them tonight.
Well, 42 against 35. Yeah. And you're the one who said yesterday, Emmanuel, the 42-year-old guy is, to me, the younger fighter. But I get the impression he's not as young as you thought he was.
No, he's not looking as young. But Winky's looking a lot slower to him, lethargic himself, both of them. So it's like an even match now.
Both have had a lot of rounds. Neither has been a knockout puncher. Both are accustomed to constantly going the distance in their fights. It's a lot of work.
And both guys are fighting tonight. They're throwing punches the way they can do
by Hopkins.
to win a fight.
By Hopkins. Those are Hopkins' two best punches in a while. Sharp right hand and a quick left hook.
Hopkins has landed the hurting punches in this fight. Winky also has never walked around in the ring at this weight. He's never fought at 170 pounds. And I think that explains the kind of lethargic, or at least the slower pace that he's going at. His hands look slower. He just looks...
Well, and he's only the latest in a long line of opponents to learn that it's almost impossible to force the pace against Bernard Hopkins.
Yep, and then Bernard is moving still. He's giving him angles, like I said earlier. He's moving around and making Winky use his legs more than most of the fighters that Winky Wright fights.
I got you.
And every time they get close to each other, one or the other gathers the other in. And Bird has to keep coming at them to try to get them to break up. Crowd is frustrated. Fighters are frustrated. Referee's frustrated.
All right, come on, champ. You got to bite down now. Give me my piece. Breathe. Breathe.
So I know he's tired. Keep working.
No problem.
I'm not coming.
It's not a factor at all.
We good, Doc.
Here for you now.
See which way here.
Okay?
Don't blow your nose, brother. Don't blow it. Smart, baby. Smart.
All right, right here.
I got you.
All right, you feint him. Now over here and right, back with the hook to the body. You hear me? He's wide open for it right now, okay? He's ready to be taken. Okay?
Go, Freddy.
Let's pick it up a little bit.
Go,
All
guys.
right, combinations. Let's pick it up. These guys dead.
That's smart boxing. Take your time.
Our bunch is connected through the 8th round. Hopkins has an edge here. 88 out of 342 to Wright, 59 out of 241. Harold Letterman gave the last round to Bernard Hopkins, narrowing his scorecard down just a little bit. We come to the 9th of a scheduled 12.
Let him out. Come on. There we go. Nice and easy. There we go. Don't push.
One reason Bird has been reluctant to assess a penalty point so far is that everybody knows this is likely to become a close fight on the scorecards, and one penalty point could swing the competition one way or the other. No referee wants to be the one who decides a fight between two fighters of this caliber.
You know, and that begs the question. Other than making some money here, what's the point of the exercise?
Well, you said it was for the light heavyweight championship of the world, Max.
Yes, I did, and yes, it is. But I'm thinking about Chad Dawson watching these two go at it right now.
That's exactly what I was thinking, too.
Well, one thing I'm pretty sure of, Chad Dawson's faster
Both of you guys,
and more physically vibrant.
In an old light heavyweight division, Chad Dawson is a young athletic star.
Well, and it's a mark of Dawson's anonymity to this point that for whoever the winner is, as they look for another big money fight down the road, the next matchup probably isn't in this division, but rather at 168, where you might want to fight the winner of the fight between Joe Calzaghe and Mikkel Kessler coming up this fall. Particularly if it's Calzaghe, who has the bigger name and more money. The blood is really flowing now from above the left eye of Winky Wright. Do you think it's bothered him in the fight, Emmanuel?
Yes, I think it has bothered him. But, you know, both he and Bernard are real good veteran fighters, so I think they learned how to, he can adjust and handle it.
Jermaine Taylor got a win over Bernard Hopkins here in Las Vegas in their first fight, with blood streaming from a cut on his forehead.
Almost anyone that fights Bernard stands a good risk of being cut, normally from a butt.
Step out.
And you look at how Winky's face is shaped and the prominence of those eyebrows, you just knew that it was a very strong possibility here tonight.
Step out, Bernard. Step out.
It's not that it's the worst fight in the world either. These guys have produced some action, even if it's kind of awkward action.
Stop.
But they're pretty evenly matched. It's difficult to score.
Next time you do that,
and they're clearly no longer in their primes.
And now Bird says that he's one more hold away from assessing a penalty point against Hopkins. And that would be a big event in the fight if it happens.
Stop.
Hopkins backing up, trying to get away from the hold, trying to avoid the penalty point. All weekend here in Las Vegas, Marvin Hagler has been on the scene. One of the greatest middleweights of all time. One of the men against whom Hopkins constantly compared himself during his long reign over the middleweight division, his 20 consecutive successful middleweight title defenses. Where does Hagler rank in your middleweight pantheon, Emmanuel?
You may not believe this and go along with it, but I would have Marvin for middleweights. I rate him #1. I think he would have beat Monzon. Ray Robinson was mostly his great fights was welterweight. When you look, we just saw the middleweight fight because he was older then. But as a welterweight, Robinson was the greatest welterweight. But I think that Hagler would have beat Monzon too.
Can't worry about it, Winky. Can't worry about it.
A beautiful shot of Las Vegas by night. Lots of great things going on outside the arena. The Bengals are playing at the beach tonight. And we return to the ring to find out if this burning is an internal flame. And as we get to the 10th of the schedule, 12, Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, 6 rounds to 3, 87, 84, Ronald Winky Wright. Jim, I don't know. I can't get myself to score a fight for a guy that holds constantly. I think Winky is scoring the better shots. Bernard is just faking it. He throws a shot and he grabs. You know, he makes it, he smiles, makes it look good. But the truth of the matter is that's what he's doing. Throwing a punch and grabbing. On the other hand, Winky's landed the cleanest shots. 6 to 3, Winky Wright.
That's one judge's opinion. Others may vary.
I got you.
Considerably from that view.
Just for clarification, Harold, are you saying that because there's not much to choose from, you're going to take the guy who's doing less holding?
Well, you got to watch it very, very carefully, Max. Basically, what you're scoring is that the guy that lands the cleaner punches is winning the round. I think Winky Wright is landing the clean shots. Bernard tends to come in, slap him, and grab him. On the other hand, Winky, right there, landed a real nice right hand. Winky's landed the cleaner shots.
And there's a left hand to finish that exchange by Wright. Hopkins is probably landing the more damaging blows when he lands his right hand or his little left hook inside. But they're not as easy to see. They come at very close range amid the grappling and the contact and the shoulder-to-shoulder that takes place when these two fighters get close to each other, like that.
The way I score a round is ask myself, who would I rather have been as Hopkins lands the hook? And I'm not sure in most of these rounds who I'd rather have been.
I would not want to be the judge.
Go.
I'd rather be the lead singer of the Bengals.
Stop.
Less contact, no blood. You get to travel with women.
Let's go.
Hopkins with a good right hand there. Winky grins at him. They go back to grappling.
And at the end of this round, who would you rather be, Winky or Bernard in this round? I don't know. There's not a lot to choose from. Winky's moving his hands a little more and forcing the fight. Bernard is holding, but I feel landing the harder shots, in particular, the right hand counter.
I think Bernard seems to be more focused, more alert mentally at this stage than Winky does. And that's what I'm just studying the eyes.
Whoa, God, whoa.
Robert Byrd hasn't assessed that penalty point yet. 6 minutes left to go in the fight.
I got you.
There's still a lot of embracing going on in the ring.
We got 2 rounds, Wink. You got to run them numbers more. You got to leave it all here.
Leave it all here. You gave him that round. You did good. Leave it all, Wink. Hot boxing. How you feel, champ? I know it's tough, man.
You go to him with a little head movement for me, okay? All right, just don't walk right to him. Go with a little head movement, a little pace, okay? All right? Open him up. Now, B, the body shot's going to hurt him, and the head shot's going to finish him, okay? I promise you, okay? Try that right. When you're on the inside, drop down.
Even though neither one of the guys are landing many clean blows that much, I think that Bernard is landing more precision, accurate punches, just like this combination of 2 right hands he landed here. Where Winky seems to be a little bit more loose with his punches at this stage.
Average punches through 10 rounds. Hopkins averaging 12 out of 52. Wright averaging 14 out of 52. Hopkins probably landing, as Emmanuel just said, the harder shots. In other words, by CompuBox standards, it's a pretty even fight. Harold Letterman gave the last round to Hopkins, once again narrowing his scorecard.
Stop.
We're into the championship rounds.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Come on, you guys, both of you are dumping in. Now, come on, fight. Stop, stop, I got you. Stop. Step out. Let's go.
Good right hand inside by Hopkins.
Step out. Let's go.
Wright with a chopping left hand over the top that made partial contact.
Come on, guys, I got you. Step out, step out, step out, step out, step out, brother. Watch your feet.
Boxing fans who may not have known Robert Byrd very well before will be seeing this referee in their sleep
Step out, step out. Watch your
because
feet.
of his
Both of you, watch your feet.
omnipresence in the fight. Necessary omnipresence. Hopkins' hands seem to have gotten faster in the last 2 or 3 rounds.
He's not really punching so much for a knockout. He's just trying to do enough little clean punches to get his points and then push it with his left shoulder so you can't punch back.
Crowd chanting, "Be hot." You know, these guys are older and clearly no longer in their primes, but I don't know how much different the fight would look or how much different it would be on the scorecards had they met in their prime.
10 years ago,
Bernard Hopkins always kind of fought this way. He wasn't the prettiest fighter to watch. Effective, but not so pretty.
Stop, stop. All right, guys, you're tying up, you're tying up, you're tying up. Let's fight. I got you.
That's the way that Bernard is fighting to steal the decision.
Hopkins continues to lock up Winky Wright's right arm with his left. Robert Byrd continues to bend over backward to make sure that he doesn't assess a penalty point and decides the fight.
Listen for the bell.
We got 1 round to go. Does anybody know who's winning this fight?
My slight guess, I would have Bernard slightly ahead.
He's even right now, Winky, I'm telling you. Only because he's running his hands on the inside. Come on, man, give me some room. What the fuck? Give me some room.
We need this right even.
Where's the water? Daryl, give me some water. The fight is dead even, Winky. You've got to stay busy. You've got to get off first and work on the inside, Winky.
Suck it up, son.
Let's take it to him. Okay?
My back.
Come on. Get his back. Now you can breathe in here, son. Easy. Make it easy, all right? Let's go. Combinations. Okay?
Within the past few rounds, you get a sense that Dan Birmingham in Winky Wright's corner is concerned about the momentum of the fight. Freddie Roach is pretty much always the same. Seems to constantly say the same things to his fighters in an even tone, regardless of what's happened in the ring. CompuBox numbers through 11. Hopkins 138 out of 579. Wright 157 out of 571. Hopkins with an edge in power punches.
Step out, step out, step out, step out, step back.
Hopkins had the edge in power punches in both of his 2 losses to Jermaine Taylor. Blood begins to flow again from above the left eye of Wright. That's a deep cut that came from the butt in the 2nd round. If either fighter has tired in the late rounds, it would appear to be Wright, who has not been landing as many sharp blows.
Winky Wright in 2 close fights that didn't go his way, a loss to Fernando Vargas and a draw against Jermaine Taylor, has been this era's sort of anti-Sugar Ray Leonard, where Sugar Ray Leonard in close fights where there wasn't much to choose between he and his opponent, stepped on the gas. Winky seems to decelerate slightly in the last round, enough to cost him what could have been some signature wins.
Yeah, his big argument against Fernando Vargas suffered from the fact that he threw 25 punches in the 12th round, and Vargas was credited with throwing 99.
The fact is, at this level, there's very little to choose from generally. Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Winky Wright in this era, Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor. There's not much to choose from. You know, Who's going to close the show stronger and just step on that accelerator a little more in the last round?
Wright is trying to let his hands go in this round, trying to throw as many punches as he's thrown throughout the fight. Hopkins is stepping on the gas.
Hopkins looks fresher, looks a little stronger, and that may impress the judges. Winky's punches are a little wide and sloppy, and he looks very fatigued, unorganized.
Again, the chant of B-Hop, B-Hop. Wright got in a couple of body shots before they hugged again.
I got you guys.
If Wright loses the fight, he and his corner are going to suggest that Hopkins should have been penalized for holding.
I got you. Step up.
And if Hopkins loses the fight, he's going to hold his hands up and say, how? Why?
Now what about a draw? Like kissing your sister, which this fight,
they've done a lot of that.
Yeah, but Winky's form and composure is so bad here that it's going to be hard to see them give him this round.
I agree. And now we await the inevitable judge's decision. Was there ever any doubt it would go 12 rounds? There's a lot of head shaking in the ring in both corners. And there you see how Harold Letterman's scorecard wound up. And that, coming into this fight, is what you would call smart money. A smart judge winds up at 114 apiece. And there was a lot of smart money in the hotel the last couple of days, which understood that a draw was as likely here as in almost any fight you can remember. And here are the judges who will have to make this extremely difficult and probably unrewarding decision. Glenn Hamada had Trinidad De La Hoya a draw, 114 apiece. Dave Moretti, one of the 5 Nevada judges who preferred Taylor over Hopkins in their 2 fights. Bernard Hopkins is above us, and speaking to Emmanuel Stewart and myself as I go through this, Glenn Trowbridge, the least experienced of the 3 judges, had Moskayev ahead of Rockman going to the 12th. Bernard Hopkins smiling and celebrating for the crowd on this side of the ring. Winky Wright in the corner with his group. Michael Buffer's ready to tell us if there is a winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Mandalay Bay, we go to the scorecards. Glenn Hamada, 116, 112. Dave Moretti, 117, 111. And Glenn Trowbridge, same score, 117 to 111. All to the winner by unanimous decision. And still, light heavyweight champion of the world from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
So it turns out that all 3 judges were less impressed with Winky Wright's clean punching in the middle stages of the fight than was Harold Letterman. And Hopkins gets a unanimous decision. And as the decision was being read, Winky Wright's manager, Jim Wilkes, stood above us and shook his head demonstratively in both directions, letting us know from the get-go what the right reaction to this decision will be. Final CompuBox numbers will show a small numerical advantage for Wright. Landing 15 more punches, throwing 22 fewer, landing at a 3% higher connect percentage. Jabs, this will show a big advantage for Wright. Landing 78 more, throwing 189 more, and winding up tripling Hopkins' connect percentage on the jab. So Bernard Hopkins won the fight, at least in the eyes of the 3 official judges, in the next category, power punches, where Hopkins landed 63 more, threw 221 more, and landed at a slightly higher connect percentage. Ironically, in those clinches where Hopkins was never penalized for holding by Bird, and that may well have been a very good decision, I'm not criticizing it, in those clinches on the inside at close quarters, that's where Hopkins won the fight. Let's go to Max Kellerman in the ring with the winner. We have a momentary technical problem in the ring. Audio problem, making it difficult apparently at this moment for us to hear Max Kellerman and Bernard Hopkins. So as we work to correct that and get ready for the post-fight interview, I am told that we are now ready to go back to Max and hear from Hopkins.
Okay, let's try it again. Champ, congratulations. Evaluate your performance.
Thanks. I'd like to thank everybody in Germantown, all my friends, Jack Harris, North Philly, West Philly, South Philly, and also like to give congratulations to Winky Wright for being tough. And I hope the commission understand I had to promote a good fight, and I made sure that it was a good action fight, and I hope I didn't have to pay $300,000 to prove that.
You're referring to $300,000 that's being held from your purse because you...
Trying to promote it better so everybody can see at home, and as I think...
Because at the weigh-in, you put your hands on Winky Wright.
Well, everybody pushing, shoving anyway, and you've been around this game alone, Max. It's nothing but promotion, baby. Nobody got hurt, no foul, no argument. No
so it was calculated at the weigh-in.
It manifests right here in the ring, and I wanted people to see a great fight. When some writers say it'll be boring, but I hope it wasn't. It was a great performance. I'm back. Anybody out there? Yo, Joe Gazaki, Yankee Stadium. Let's do Yankee Stadium in the spring or the late winter or early fall, and I'll knock you out. You won't be undefeated anymore.
Okay, now you have defeated Winky now, and the scores were not that close, but ringside, it appeared to be a close fight without a lot to choose from round to round. Did you feel that you were winning the fight, that you had it in hand in the late rounds?
Not really. Winky is tough, and he kept coming. You know, we had a thing at the press conference. Winky been around the game. He know me and I respect him. He know I respect his family and everything. The thing at the press conference, nothing but to hype it. I hope I put some extra dollars in his bank account by pay-per-view numbers, because that's what it's all about. We businessmen, and he know there wasn't no ill intent. It's just something to make things hype. That's boxing. It's been like that for years. And you can see Winky, he obliged what's happening, not only tonight, but what we did prior to this fight, man. So it's all good. They got a good performance. Boxing is back. Golden Boy is putting the best shows on, and y'all seen it today. And Winky, he ain't going nowhere. He gonna give anybody trouble, and I know why Jermaine Teller don't want to fight him no more.
What about the headbutt? Winky seemed to think it was intentional. We'll ask him in a second. What was the intent?
Well, Bird, the referee, told both of us, southpaws and orthodox fighters, as you know, Max, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we tends to cross feet.
Here it is, champ.
We tends to cross feet and tends to lean in, and that's what happens. I'm going under. See, he coming to me. Max, he coming to me, and I'm coming down. I'm not even looking at him. So he really came to me and fell on me after he threw a punch and leaned in and fell into me. It was an accidental headbutt. I mean, film no lie. I didn't stick my head out and accidentally try to. It happens with southpaws and orthodox fighters. We tend to cross feet and bump heads.
Before the fight, you pointed to your legs. You said your legs felt great against Tarver, and you thought your legs would enable you to win this fight. Did your legs feel as good as you said? Because they didn't look quite as much better as Winky's legs as you were making it sound before the fight.
Yeah, because I did a lot of offset movement, like Freddie Roach, John David Jackson, and Brother Nazim from afar was telling me to bait him in because he reaches with his jab. So I had to go back and use my energy with my back legs a lot more, and I trained for that. You know, Max, that was a tactic skill. If you've seen it, it was called the bait and fish. The bait and fish. You give it the bait on the hook, and when the fish get next to the hook, you pull it back a little bit, and then you wheel him in, and that's what I was doing.
And what do you call the right-hand counters that you seem to catch him with throughout the fight that seemed to be the hardest punch landed in the fight, your right-hand counters?
I calls it the Jersey Joe Walcott shovel hook.
Thanks, champ.
Shovel right hand.
Thanks, champ.
Thank you, Max. Congratulations to Winky, man. He's a tough fighter, man. You got nothing to be ashamed about. All right, brother? Wilkes, good job, baby. Good job, all right?
Winky, who won this fight?
I felt I won the fight. I brought the fight to him. He fought a great fight. He had better legs than I thought. He threw better punches than I thought. But the cut really, bothered me from the beginning, as you can see. But, it's a fight. I ain't take nothing away from him. He fought better than a 42-year-old fighter.
Bernard says it was not intentional. Do you think it was intentional?
I don't think it was intentional. It was a headbutt, but you know, we fought. That's how it is. You know, I told y'all from day one, I'm coming to fight. The people said it wasn't going to be a fight. It was a fight.
Here's another angle of the headbutt, Winky.
You see, here, get a head, bam, right there.
Does appear you were coming forward.
No, I threw the left hand. Then when I was coming back this way, he came in with his head. It's all good. It was a headbutt, and that's that. You know what I mean?
What do you think of the wideness of the scores?
The who?
The fact that the scores weren't closer than they were.
Oh, that was crazy. That was real crazy. I thought I won, and I thought it was a close fight. I definitely didn't think I lost by that like that.
You seem to be putting more effort in this 12th round than you did in the Jermaine Taylor fight. Were you thinking about the Jermaine Taylor fight in the 12th round?
Nah, I told y'all we was gonna fight, and you know, for all the people that kept saying I wasn't gonna come to fight, I told y'all I'm coming to fight. I'm not a 170 pounder, but I came in here, I fought with a tough 170 pounder, and you know, I thought I won.
Okay, you're not a 170 pounder. Are you even a 168 pounder, or are you gonna go all the way back down to 160?
Going back down to 160, 154. I told y'all who I want. I want Oscar, point blank. You know what I mean? And then I think that'll be it for me. I fought a lot of fights. I wanted to fight the best, and I'm doing that.
Thanks, Winky.
All right, take y'all day.
Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Max Kellerman. And you heard both fighters expressing what they want for the rest of their careers, but in all probability, neither fighter moved forward toward anything big or exciting as the result of the nature of tonight's fight. Hopkins gets, however, a very satisfying win to add once again, Emmanuel, to his legacy.
Yeah, it was a good win. He fought a smart fight, and he threw little short punches. I had him winning the fight all the way. You know, you started off, he win the first round with just a one blow. He definitely, I felt, won the last round. So just those 2 rounds alone gave him an edge. But, you know, it was a lot of wear and tear I saw on both of them. And I know even though Bernard is looking forward to fighting Calzaghe, he needs to take a second thought about that, because I saw a lot of lack of speed on both guys' part tonight.
Well, Joe Calzaghe, the 168-pound champion about whom Hopkins is talking, number one, has an extremely difficult assignment this fall against Mikkel Kessler of Denmark. Kessler is younger, maybe faster, more powerful. A lot of people are picking him to win the fight. On the other hand, if Calzaghe gets past Kessler, he's a magnificently high-speed fighter who throws balanced combinations with both hands, and it's going to be hard to see him looking that way against Hopkins because, frankly, nobody looks that good against Bernard Hopkins.
No one looks good against Hopkins. Winky Wright. And you put those 2 guys together, and we had an ugly fight because we had 2 guys who fight ugly fight for the most part. But, you know, right now I think it was a good victory for Bernard. He's, you know, it helps his legacy or whatever, and I think he needs to seriously look at maybe moving on. I really don't think there's nothing better he's going to accomplish. He should stop. He's on top right now. And the trick to being a winner in anything in this life is knowing when to stop.
Yeah, and, you know, you think of Calzaghe, if he gets past Kessler and he has the option of fighting people like Jermaine Taylor, who's talking about moving up to 168, like Kelly Pavlik, if he's able to beat Taylor this fall, it's quite obvious that he has better business options than the notion of fighting a 42-year-old fighter at this point. As for Wright, he calls out Oscar De La Hoya. It seems abundantly clear to me at this point, coming off of the loss, Winky's going to be foraging for whatever fight he can get at this point, and it's not likely to be a star like Oscar De La Hoya.
No, if either one of these guys fight anybody, they'll be used as a stepping stone, a big name. I don't think they would be a serious contender for any of the fighters out here today. I really would like to see both of them quit.
All right. Max Kellerman, you said at the beginning of the evening that this was for the light heavyweight championship of the world. If so, you worry a little bit, it seems to me, about the light heavyweight division.
Although we mentioned Chad Dawson, he's a young, exciting fighter. You know, Winky Wright, I'd like to think that some of the kind of lethargy in terms of the way he was moving was due to the weight. You know, he's 170 pounds. He's just not used to the weight. I'd like to see him at 160 pounds and what he can still do there against maybe the winner of Taylor Pavlik, especially if it's Pavlik, because Taylor's moving up to 168 pounds. As for Bernard Hopkins, he told us yesterday, in fact, that the ring retires fighters. Fighters don't retire from the ring. And the ring hasn't retired Bernard Hopkins yet.
Nope. Nor apparently have the fans, because the crowd here was chanting, "B Hop, B Hop," meaning that somehow late in his career, this fighter who struggled to get an audience for so many years despite his enormous accomplishments, even while his style and his physicality have diminished, maybe because he talks so well and so much, he's finally generated the kind of audience that he struggled to get for a long, long time, back when he was greater than he is right now. But his accomplishments are still meaningful, and his legacy continues to grow.